Spent my adult life climbing mountains, and it's something that I started as a hobby. And because I was so involved with it, I ended up climbing all the highest peaks in the world without oxygen. I made 7 successful ascents of Everest. And, my whole idea about climbing was the planning and the preparation are essential to success and to safety. And so you have to embrace the whole event from, the planning, the training, putting a team together, gathering the equipment, and then you go do what you do in the mountains, and that's where you're tested. My greatest accomplishment was a project that I invented years ago, when I called it Endeavor 8000. And that was what I wanted to do, was to go out and climb the 14 mountains in the world that are all above 8,000 meters, which is anything above 26,000 feet. And I had initially climbed 2 or 3 of the big mountains, and then I decided, why not go climb all of them to complete this project. And it ended up taking me 18 years to climb the 14 highest mountains in the world, and I did it without oxygen. And I guess I'm really proud about the fact that it was an idea that I came up with, and only 2 or 3 other people in the world had done it. Well, being in a video game, to me, by the invitation, hopefully means that I've had a career that seems worthy of being included in a game. As a guide, as an advisor, from my history as a mountain climber, the things that I've learned, and hopefully some of the instruction that I can pass along to others. How do you plan? How do you prepare? How do you make decisions? How do you stay motivated? How do you create a team? All those things that I learned, hopefully that I can transfer some of those ideas to people playing this game. When I arrive at a lodge, probably the first things I look for are how clean and organized it is, how have people left it from after and that's something that we always try to do at these lodges, is leave it better than when you got there. Is there places to sleep? Is there a source of heat? How do I cook my food? All those things, water sources, and the structure itself. Does it seem safe to be in? Is it weatherproof? Will it protect me from a storm or during a heavy snowfall, wind, that type of thing? So those are kind of the big qualities that we look for, I think, when we arrive and look at the basic structure of the lodge. My favorite lodge that I remember from my climbing career would be, it's called the Khumbu Lodge in Namche Bazaar, and that's in Nepal. And it's a place that I started to stay at. As we walk into Everest Base Camp, you stop at multiple villages along the way. And the Khumbu Lodge, I started staying there in the late 80s. And every time I went to Nepal, I made sure to stay at that lodge. To keep morale high, I think within a lodge, you need a comfortable place for people to rest, because after a long, hard day, you have to get ready for another long, hard day. And resting and relaxing and feeling safe and sheltered, mentally and physically, helps you to recharge your batteries for the next day, because it's not going to be easy. It's going to always be hard. And also, nutrition is essential. Warm food, comfort food, things that recharge your calorie depletion are important, but it's got to taste good. You've got to want to eat it. There has to be enough. And hydration is critical, because hydration is often even way more important than nutrition. If you're dehydrated, you're going to be weaker, you're going to be more prone to illness. And so we always look at hydration, and then we recharge with the calories from food. The preparation to climb, let's say, an 8,000 meter peak, and a mountain like that, the expedition alone, from the time I leave till the time I get home, could take as long as 3 months to climb one mountain. And prior to that, I would spend 6 to 8 months knowing I'm going to go on one of these trips in preparation. So there's a lot of attention to detail that goes into just getting ready for that particular event. And it's always been my fear of failure that has been my motivator. I have the time to get ready. I'm going to spend the time to get ready. You know, temperature control is very important being on a mountain or being in cold conditions. Hypothermia can be a big problem. And the essential thing then is to get that person out of that situation, get them in some sort of shelter, and start helping their body create heat, whether that's warm food or whether that's from some external source like a fire or a heater or somebody else's body heat. And hypothermia can be a big issue, especially in cold weather. You know, it's okay to be solo occasionally. I tended to do most of my climbs initially with larger teams because I was invited to be a part of a team by a leader that organized the climb. And that's where I learned how these expeditions worked. And then once I'd figured that out, I started to create my own teams. You know, who do I want to be with? First of all, I've got to like you because you're with somebody for 3 months. You have to trust that person or those people. And the personalities have to meld and be complementary as well as the skill set. There are occasions where you think, well, I'm just going to go alone. But you have to think about the safety factor. And with every step you take and with every decision you make, there's a consequence. And if you mess up or make a mistake, you know, there's no backup. I've been involved in several rescues in the mountains, and thankfully, it was never a part of my team or a team member. But when you're in the mountains and other people are around, there's good possibility that you may be called to assist somebody that needs help. And that's kind of the moral part of being in the mountains, right? If somebody needs your help, no matter who they are, you go and help. And I've had multiple occasions where somebody else needed my help and I went to their help and it helped get him down. And, you know, fortunately I had the knowledge of thinking I could always go back up and try again. If not on this particular expedition, I'll just come back next year or the year later. But saving somebody's life, in my opinion, is way, way more important than climbing to a summit of a mountain. If you're deciding between using a helicopter versus a snowcat, I think the weather conditions would help you decide that. If it's a clear, sunny, perfect, windless day, you know, you might opt for the helicopter. If conditions are really bad, if it's snowing and it's a blizzard and you can't see very well, I'd rather be on the ground sitting in a snowcat. It would give me more flexibility, and in the long run it'd probably be a lot safer. Yeah, slope angle is very important, especially in when you're thinking about avalanche danger. Typically the rule of thumb is anything less than 30 degrees slope is relatively safe. It's very hard to create an avalanche on slopes that are that low angled. Anything you're going above 30 degrees, you have to start to be thinking about the snow conditions. You know, when was the last snowfall? How much fell? What was the wind direction? It's more dangerous to traverse a steep slope like that rather than go straight up a steep slope like that. So there's a lot more complicated things that go into climbing a deep, snow-loaded slope at anything above 30 degrees. Yeah, I think some of the aspects of the game that hopefully I can be an advisor for are, number one, how to plan and prepare for a big event. You know, being out in the wilderness, how do you put a team together? How do you collect the equipment necessary? How to make decisions based on risk? How to be safe? So there's a lot of complicated things when you're out in the wilderness, you know, things that are unpredictable, the weather, the snow conditions, the group dynamic, the equipment failures, you know, having too much, having too little. All those things go into how I plan and prepare for my adventure, and I think this is how the players can structure themselves to accomplish a goal as well. Ed Viesturs here, Above the Snow, available now on Steam.